This feeling of being lost all the time comes from either not knowing how to reach your goals or not knowing what those goals really are in the first place. I think for me, it was the second one. So talking about my journey a little bit, I am an engineer by education, but I've always wanted to be a writer. The same old sob story of almost every Indian kid who took science field and later wanted to shift into something creative. So I completed my engineering and then I got into writing, editing, eventually becoming a literary editor, working independently with writers and also some publishing houses. I also went on to do my master's in creative writing post that, but that's a different story. What we are talking about right now is my attempt of trying to build a sustainable, profitable business out of my creative passion, and how that is quite the goal that I keep questioning all the time. I keep asking myself, is this really the right path? Is this really what I truly want? Or if it's truly even possible? Because at the end of engineering, while most of my classmates were going around looking at campus placements, I decided to choose a different path, do something else. While they were working in corporate, I was trying to build my own startup, my own freelance business. But eventually, when I noticed their growth, I started questioning myself if this is really what I wanted, or if this is really going to make me the kind of money that I want. And this constant questioning, self-doubt, insecurities, this constant what if it's not the right path, this fear, this what if, kept me up at night for months at a stretch in 2025. To be fair, this was also a time when I was facing a lot of business problems. By that I mean, whenever I attempted to try out something new, some obstacle or the other would come up. Whenever I created content on Instagram around writing, around storytelling, it wouldn't reach the kind of audience who are looking for it. Other external parameters, like when I started researching for some of my offers, I realized, this is not working out, that's not working out. I kept ruling out all my offers based on the research that I got. So I was a little frustrated about which offer I should really launch. Plus, I think all the talk around AI taking over writers and coaches and even editors in the future just created this sense of exhaustion inside me. It made me feel like, what's the point of, navigating all these problems in my business, then creating it all from ground up? Because I do trust that I'm a really good editor and I can do it. I trust myself on that. But what if I built all of this up and then AI came over, took over all the writers, all the editors, all the coaches, and then nobody wants to buy me, as in buy my services? And what if my decision of going after my creative passion was wrong after all? Due to all these fears and constant questioning, I literally was in a limbo state. That is like a state where I was just frozen, not working with my mind in my work for almost like 4 to 5 months. But like every story has a twist, I faced a wake-up call in September of 2025 when I realized that, hey, there are only 4 months left in 2025, and the deadline that I had given to myself for actually building and creating a sustainable income out of this business is now coming to an end. I had told myself that, if I don't build this business in 2 years, 24 and 2025, then I'll go take up a job and forget about this creative business, my passion, whatever. The moment that self-created deadline came into the picture and I realized that, oh my God, I have not had a client for the last 4-5 months. And if I don't make any more money in the next 4-5 months, I'll just have to cancel my dream entirely and go and get a job. Now, there's nothing wrong about getting a job. It's just that I really wanted to build this business. It was my dream, right? I really wanted the dream. I didn't want to sacrifice the dream just because I gave up on it. So after this feeling of potentially having to quit my dream business forever and getting a corporate job like my friends, after that feeling frightened me to my core, I had the wake-up call that, Srishti, this is a do or die moment. Either you do it now or you simply give up right now. So I woke up one day, mid-September, after this realization hit me around 3 a.m. the previous night, I woke up and I was like, all right, Srishti, now you have only one goal for the next 3-4 months, which is to just launch a product that you feel passionate about. The only goal is to create this offer, launch this offer, and consistently market it for like 30 to 60 days. Minimum 60 days. And what's the worst that'll happen? You'll fail at it. Nobody will buy it. That's the worst. At least then you will know that you've done whatever you could. And then you can give up if you want to. At least you'll have the satisfaction of having tried your best. So I did it. I kept my focus on just taking action towards the step of creating and launching and marketing that offer without thinking anything about all those worries, all those feelings. They would still crop up. It's not easy. They would still crop up. I would still push past it and tell myself, I'm just doing this for the next 3-4 months, and that's about it. 60 days later, I had 3 new clients in my business. And I'm telling you, this was a big deal for a girl who was going to give up on her dream based on research or overthinking or just staying in the limbo. Now, this isn't to say that suddenly I am raking in gold and I'm having cash and oh my God, the business is a big success. Nope, it's far from what a successful, profitable business still looks like. But the fact that I got these 3 clients after 60 days of consistent action taking towards a product that I just believed in without overthinking, this thing created evidence in my mind that if I work, then things will happen. And that is the lesson over here, Action precedes reaction. I realized that earlier when I was feeling lost and letting these feelings take over my day and take over my action and my behavior, I was actually losing out on the result that I could be getting if I were not thinking those feelings. I know it's a tough one because when these feelings crop up that, hey, I'm lost, I don't know if this is the right way. Should I even do it? Because I was in that limbo, I was very on and off in my business. I would post a reel one day, or maybe I would post for 1 week on Instagram, I would market for 1 week, then the other week I would disappear. Or I would start creating a product, I would, write down what goes inside the curriculum, then research it and self-eliminate it. It's not to say that research in business is not important, but because I was having all these heavy feelings about being lost, I was not able to take research as data. I would just look at information and I would bias it based in that overthinking belief or lack of belief that I was going through. And that impacted my business, the way I showed up, and the lack of result I was getting, eventually I realized was because I wasn't putting my heart and soul into it. So if you've been feeling lost, right, like I was, if you have a lot of ideas and you've not been able to take action on any of them, I challenge you to wake up one day, pick one thing that you're very excited about or passionate about. Passion is probably the wrong word, but just one that you feel like, maybe I can do this. Pick that up, stay consistent with it for at least 60 to 90 days, at least 3 months. Give it at least 3 months. Work on that one idea or that one activity, whatever you choose, for the next 90 days. And see what happens. Do this without any expectation, because what's the worst that can happen? You are already feeling lost. The worst thing that can happen is you will still be feeling lost after 3 months, which is okay. You're anyway feeling lost. At least then, if you feel lost after having put work into it, then you will have some real evidence to base your feeling lost thing on. The best thing, it can work out for you. Maybe something will come up and you will get a new idea. Maybe you'll find a new direction. But whatever happens, action always precedes reaction. One thing you'll notice about feeling behind is you'll always be comparing yourself to someone else, and in comparison, you will be behind. And here's a fun fact. Usually, you will be comparing yourself to someone you are very personally close to, your family or your friends. You won't be comparing yourself to Shah Rukh Khan or Anand Ambani. You will be comparing yourself to one of your closest friends or your cousins. Simply because we are invested in the lives of these people who are in our inner or the closer circle. So the first time this feeling cropped up for me was one of my best friends got married last year. And it came as a surprise. I wasn't expecting that she would call me up one day and say that she's getting married. It was an arranged marriage, so a very quick arrangement. But that's the day I realized, and I was like, wait, you are settled enough in your life to actually get married, while I'm not even fully financially independent yet. Slowly I started realizing that whenever I saw one of my friends achieve a milestone in their life, I would be happy for them. It's not jealousy for the sake of jealousy. I would be happy for them. I would congratulate them. I would even, celebrate with them. But there would be a little pang of guilt, a pang of dissatisfaction about me not reaching some of those same milestones. One other thing I've realized is that this comparison instantly kills any little moments of joy that you've gotten in your own life as well. So when I got my 3 clients last October, I found out that one of my other best friends is getting engaged. While I was very happy for her, instantly the story in my mind changed. Instead of thinking, oh, I have 3 clients, yay, I'm so happy, my narrative shifted towards, yeah, 3 clients are important, but this doesn't change the entire situation of my business, does it? But look at her. She just got engaged, means she has that kind of financial capability to get settled right now, and we are the same age. The moment the story shifted in my mind, the moment the comparative narrative came into my head, all the joy that I was experiencing towards getting these 3 clients and creating that evidence for my business, all of it just went out. I'm embarrassed to admit that I even felt stupid for feeling happy for my 3 clients before, because that was such a small achievement, right? I was just being happy for 3 clients, which didn't even take my business towards break even. And that's where I caught my comparison trap. I realized that, oh my God, I am comparing myself, my happiness, my journey to her happiness. And something's not right. Like, why am I doing this? I know that comparison is not good. We shouldn't be doing it, but I'm still doing it. So I decided to journal on these feelings. And that's where I figured out why we feel like we should compare our journeys to the next person, especially our closest circle. You know why? Because human nature is a little part of it. Aside from that, we, Asian kids, especially growing up in India, we have been taught to measure our success, measure our happiness, measure our achievements based on the achievements of other people around us. This has been ingrained in us since childhood. And I'm not even blaming my parents or the older generation. They were taught the same thing by their parents, and they were taught the same thing by their parents. So this thing has been going on generations and generations, and we have been growing up with these feelings. Do you remember in school, after you got the result of your test, your parents would ask you, okay, how much did you get? You will tell them. And then they might ask you, oh, how much did your friend get? How much did that person get? Or how much did the topper of the class get? And then based on that answer, they would assess where you stand in class. It was just their way of figuring out how well you're doing compared to the other kids. My parents didn't do it as much, but my tuition teachers did it all the time, and that's why I think I picked it up from. Then when I was preparing for my competitive exams, there was this concept of percentile, which basically saw your result in comparison to other people's result, and then you will figure out whether or not you've gotten the cutoff, the college applications and all of that. You would know this if you've prepared for any competitive exams in your life. And then when I went to an engineering college, even there, I saw that they had something called relative grading. What they would do is they would look at how much did the topper of the class, as in whoever got the highest marks, they would look at that, and then they would decide what should be the grade based on that. So like the top 10% people after the topper will get an A1, and then the next 15% will get an A2. So it would not depend on how much you got. It would also depend on how much your classmates got in their exams. And somehow we've all been taught this relative grading, which we have taken on out of school, out of college, into our lives as well. And we constantly keep measuring our achievements, our milestones, on the scale of other people's milestones, and especially ones who are right around us, right? Our classmates. So once I realized the cause of my comparison trap, I started looking out for some answers and thinking about how can I escape this comparison rat race? what can I do to unlearn what has been ingrained in me? And that's the time when I ended up thinking about how things were run in the US, specifically in my master's program. I noticed that over there, they were using something called absolute grading, which simply means that your grade will depend on the marks that you get. That's it. Let's say anybody who gets over 90 till 100, they will all get A1. Anybody who gets over 80 will get an A2. Anybody who gets over 70 will get A3 or whatever. The grading system is not dependent on other people in the class. It's dependent on how I am performing in class. And that's why when I was in my master's program, I never felt the need to compare myself with any of my peers over there. And even since graduating, this was a big realization. Even after graduating, I don't think I've compared myself to any of my peers over there in the US. So maybe the solution to escaping the comparison trap is to first become aware that you are comparing yourself with another person, and then to shift your focus from that relative grading to absolute grading in real life. Now you might ask, Srishti, but how do we actually apply this? Because when you're comparing, you're just comparing. You're just constantly thinking, oh, she has that, I don't have this, I have this, which is not as great as what she has. You're constantly comparing. You're not thinking about absolute or relative or any of it. So what is a practical way of doing it? The solution that I have come up with, at least it's working for me so far, is asking myself a super specific question. And the question goes, do I just want the result that they have, or do I also want the process that they have? In other words, am I willing to undergo the problems and sacrifices that they have gone through in order to get the same result? See, when you compare yourself with somebody else's milestone, you are only looking at the milestone that they have just ticked off. You're only looking at that achievement that they have gotten, right? You don't really see the struggle, the process, the sacrifices that went behind achieving that milestone, because most people don't share their struggle story online. They only share their highlight reel. And because of that, you are unaware of all the things that went behind that milestone. So for example, if I want to have the financial security that one of my friends has, she gets this consistent paycheck every single month. Let's say I want to have that. That's the result I'm looking at, and I'm comparing myself based on the result. Me here with my inconsistent income, she's getting consistent income from her job. Instead of asking myself why she has it and I don't have it, I turn the question and I ask myself, am I willing to do the process that she has done to get that result? Am I willing to do the sacrifices and the struggles that she has gone through to get that result? So let's say she's working in corporate. Am I willing to work in corporate job right now? No. Maybe in the future it will change, who knows? I like to keep my doors open. But right now I'm not really willing to work in corporate. Am I willing to have a boss who will tell me what I'm supposed to do for the day? Not really, because I'm enjoying the independence I have in my business, the freelance business so far. And right now, I'm not ready, I'm not willing to give it up. Am I willing to undergo the corporate politics that happens in a lot of offices? The answer comes out as no. So basically, I don't want the process that she's taken, but I kind of want the result. So instead of comparing the result, I'm comparing the process. And then what happens is, I tell myself that, okay, I know, I'm aware that I want this result. Let's find out a different process, something that I want to do, and see if we can reach that. If not, it's okay, because ultimately I'm not willing to do what she has done, what she has gone through. The same way, maybe that friend, when she looks at me, she's not willing to do what I'm doing right now, the problems that I'm dealing with, in order to have the time freedom that I have currently, right? This process of escaping the comparison trap has been quite liberating for me. I've been feeling a lot freer when it comes to comparison. And I hope this helps you too, because earlier, a lot of people would tell me, oh, stop comparing, stop thinking, stop doing this, but nobody would tell me how. How do I stop comparing? So I hope that this little question of comparing the process and not really the result will help you as well, the way it has been helping me. Another big aspect of feeling lost and feeling behind in life is the story that you continuously keep telling yourself. So I came to this conclusion after watching Vanessa Lau's recent video. So this is a very recent realization and I'm still living through it. But basically, she talks about how most of our self-doubt, insecurity, comparison, all those negative feelings are stemming not from the reality, but from the story that you constantly keep telling yourself. You know that feeling when you get a new idea and instantly after that, before you can take action, you get that fear in your mind. It's the fear of judgment or the fear of failure or fear of what if this happens, right? All of that is not actually stemming from what other people will talk about you or how other people will judge you on that idea. It is simply the judgment that you are doing to yourself. So basically, you are not scared of other people judging you. You are scared of seeing your own judgment reflected in the eyes of your friends or your family. For example, I have always wanted to have a YouTube channel and be a content creator. When this word didn't even exist, I just wanted to share my thoughts, my feelings, and inspire people to live a life that they love. And I first started YouTube in 2021. It's been a long time, and I have started, failed, restarted, failed. I've done that on and off on YouTube for a long time. Somewhere I created this story in my head that hey, if I restart YouTube again after such a long break of 1 year, all my friends and family will judge me, thinking that hey, she comes across every few months, she posts a video and she runs off again, she's not serious about this. They will judge me. But in reality, I don't think anybody has the time or energy to think all of that about me. This judgment, maybe she's not serious enough, she just comes up, she does her thing and she goes off, she's not consistent. This is not their judgment. This is my own judgment about myself. This is how I feel about myself. And that's the story I keep telling myself. I have created that story in my head. The trick here is to change the story that you're telling yourself. So for me, instead of saying that, oh, if I restart, all my friends and family will think, oh, she's back again, she's going to go off again, this is not going to work out for her. Instead of that story, I'm telling myself a different story. What if I own up to the fact that me, Srishti, is a creative person and I return to videos whenever I want. I wanted to do YouTube because I loved doing it. I loved making videos. I loved the process of creating something, sharing my knowledge a little bit and potentially helping someone in need. But what if I change the story to this feeling of, I can return to YouTube whenever I want to and that's my thing. There is this famous YouTuber called Ankit and his channel is called Only Desi. And he drops a video, disappears for a few months, again drops a video, disappears for a few more months. And he's talked about it in some of his own videos, that he only makes videos when he feels like it, without creating an obligation out of video making, something he loves. Why can't I be someone like that who does the thing when she wants to do it and then always comes back to it and embraces the process the way it is supposed to be, instead of seeing my inconsistent graph as a failure? In terms of business, again, instead of saying I've just got 3 clients and this business is nowhere being a profitable one, I could change the story and say I got 3 clients after 60 days of consistent action, which means that this is evidence of what I can build. A simple shift in the story that you're telling yourself changes everything about how you feel about it and the situation that you're actually in. Okay, that's all I've got to say. I really hope that you found something valuable in this video. And while I'm still navigating my own journey, I really attempted to put down some valuable points. And if you've taken at least one key takeaway from this video, one idea that resonated with you, put it down in the comments, because I want to see how you feel. If you've watched till this point, I want to see how you felt about this video and what's going on in your mind. Let me know in the comments. Alright, this is me, Srishti, signing off. Hopefully, I'll see you soon in another video. Until then, bye-bye.